So this is a slightly more difficult question, right? I think um, moderately difficult. It's not very difficult. It's moderately difficult. For people who are not very comfortable with the numbers, I think you would probably ignore this. Let n be as the least positive integer such that 168 is a factor of 1134. Okay, so let's say 1134. 1134 can actually be written as, you can see it is divisible by 9. If you kind of factorize this, you'll get 3 to the power of 4 into 2 to the power of 1 into 7 to the power of 1. So 1134 to the power of n would be equal to 3 to the power of 4n into 2 to the power of n into 7 to the power of n. And this we are saying should be divisible by 168. 168 is 14 into 12. So we can see this works out to be 3 to the power of 1 into 2 cube into 7 to the power of 1. Now, if the numerator has to be divisible by the denominator, so the 168 is a factor of 1134 and n is the least possible value. So we can see that the value of n, right? I mean, what is the condition that you will see? 4n has to be greater than equal to 1, n has to be greater than equal to 3, n has to be greater than equal to 1. From these three conditions, the value of n that will satisfy all the possibilities is n is equal to 3. So the least value of n, right, n will be equal to 3 is the least value. Okay. Now, let's look at the second part of it. M is the least positive integer such that 1134 to the power of n is a factor of 168 to the power of m. So if I have 168 to the power of m, we are talking about 7 to the power of m into 3 to the power of m into 2 to the power of 3m. And we're talking about 1134 to the power of n. We all have already seen that that value would be equal to 7 to the power of n into 3 to the power of 4n into 2 to the power of n. So what are the criteria here? M has to be greater than or equal to n. If the numerator is divisible by denominator, m has to be greater than or equal to n. M also has to be greater than or equal to 4n. And 3m has to be greater than or equal to n. So from all these conditions, I can say that the condition that must necessarily get satisfied is m has to be greater than or equal to 4n. Or the least value of m will be equal to 4n. So m is equal to 4n is the least value. So that from the previous value, we know that n is equal to 3. So the least value of m would be equal to 12. So we can say that the value of m plus n adds up and gives you 15. Not an easy question. I think, I mean, in the situation of the exam, there is a likelihood that people will get a little confused in this. Okay. This is again a straightforward question. This should have been done. I mean, somebody knows how to solve quadratic equations. You should have done this question. Alpha and beta are the two distinct roots of this particular equation, such that alpha plus beta and alpha beta are the roots of this equation. Cool. I think it should be fairly simple. So we have alpha plus beta is equal to 3. That is equal to, it's nothing but, since that is minus of minus 6 by 2, that is equal to 3. And alpha beta is equal to k by 2. So let's say this is P and this is, or let me not take P and Q, right? Let me take this is M and this is N. And M and N are the roots of this particular thing. So M plus N is equal to 3 plus K by 2. And M into N is equal to 3K by 2. So what is it that we have? Um, from we also know that from this equation, m plus n must be equal to minus p, right? So 3 plus k by 2 is equal to minus p, and mn must be, right, is equal to p. P is equal to 3k by 2. So just substitute it there. You'll get 3 plus k by 2 is equal to minus 3k by 2. From this, we'll get the value of 4k by 2 is equal to 3, which means k minus 3. So k is equal to minus 6 by 4 or minus 3 by 2. So if k is equal to minus 3 by 2, p will be equal to minus 9 by 4. K is equal to minus 3 by 2, p is equal to minus, and that will give us 8 times k minus p, right? 8 times k minus p is minus 3 by 2 plus 9 by 4 is equal to 8 times, denominator is going to be 4, numerator is going to be 3. So the answer that you will get will be equal to 6. So the answer to this question is 6. The equation x cube plus 2x, 2r plus 1x squared as 1 minus 2 as one of the roots. If the other two roots are also real, then the minimum possible value of this is. So obviously you can, I mean, if there's a direct way to figure out what is the value of r, there's no direct way. So let's take the polynomial x cube plus 2r plus 1 into x squared plus 4r minus 1 into x plus 2 and divide this by x plus 2. So remember, when minus 2 is the root, x plus 2 must be one of the factors. So that's the principle that you are using. If this polynomial is divisible by x plus 2, so what you get as a quadratic out here, which is the quotient, that must have real roots. That's the condition that we're going to apply. So when I do this, I'll get x squared. I'll get x cube plus 2x squared. So subtracting one from the other, you'll get 2r minus 1 into x squared plus 4r minus 1 into x. I'm doing the normal division process. 2r minus 1 into x. So you'll get 2r minus 1 into x squared plus 2r minus 1, 4r minus 2 into x. So when you subtract one from the other, you'll get x plus 2, right? So this becomes plus 1. So x plus 2. So you can see that the remainder is 0. So hence this is divisible by this. This is the quotient. So what it basically means is x cube plus 2r plus 1 into x squared plus 4r minus 1 into x plus 2, which is our original polynomial, can be factorized and written as this into x squared plus 2r minus 1 into x plus 1. Now, this must have, according to the question, the roots of this are real. So if the roots are real, I'm going to apply discriminant greater than or equal to 0, which means b squared 2r minus 1 squared minus 4 times ac, 4 times 1, must be greater than or equal to 0. Or you'll get 2r. So 4 can be written as 2 squared. So 2r plus 1 into 2r minus 3 is greater than or equal to 0, which implies the value of r has to be less than or equal to minus 1 by 2 or greater than or equal to 3 by 2. But what is it that we are looking for? We are looking the minimum possible non-negative integer value of r. Should be integer value, right? Non-negative integer value. So hence you'll find that the minimum such value has to be r is equal to 2. How many integer solutions of equation exists? The first is obviously a trivial solution. I can see that x is equal to 0 is one. I mean, you could call it as trivial solution, obvious solution, right? Put x is equal to 0, left hand side becomes 0, right hand side becomes 0. The next case is, let's say that x is greater than 0. When you take x is greater than 0, mod of x will be equal to greater than equal to 0, mod of x will be equal to x. So in such cases, your equation is going to be 2 of x into x squared plus 1 is equal to 5 of x squared. So so we will have 2x squared minus 5x plus 2 equal to 0. Or I'll get 2x minus 1 into x minus 2 is equal to 0. From which the value of x is equal to 1 by 2 or x is equal to 2. So for value of x greater than equal to 0, right, there is one integer solution, that is 2. Now when you take mod of x is less than 0, mod of x will be equal to minus x. So our expression now becomes minus 2x into x squared plus 1 is equal to 5x squared. I can cancel out x because x is non-zero. So I'll get my expression 2x squared plus 5x plus 2 equal to 0. So this now expression becomes 2x plus 1 into x plus 2 is equal to 0. So either x is equal to minus 1 by 2 or x is equal to minus 2. So we can see that since we are looking for integer solutions, this is one integer solution that is less than 0. So what are my three solutions that I have which are integers? Minus 2, 0, and 2. Hence the answer to this question is 3. This was one of those easiest, I mean, take it on a platter kind of a question, right? The minor angle between the hands of a clock. Right? So if you have the hands of the clock, let's say this is at 9, so this is at 8. So at 8:48, your R hand, if it is here, your minute hand is going to be somewhere here. So this is 8:48. So at 8:48 a.m., let me look at what are the angle between the hands of the clock. So at 8 o'clock, I know the position of the hands of the clock, right? This is about 240 degrees. At 8, the R hand would be at 240. The minute hand would be at 0. At 8:48, the R hand moves at half a degree per minute. So it will add up 24 degrees. And the minute hand, that's 6 degrees, right? So that will be at 288 degrees. Right? So what is the position of the R hand? That is 264 degrees. What is the position of the minute hand? That is 288 degrees. Hence, the angle that is between these two is 288 minus 264. That's equal to 24 degrees. So if this angle has to go up by 50%, it must get to 36 degrees. So from this position, we can say that the minute hand must gain 12 more degrees, and the relative speed, the speed at which it moves, is going to be 6 minus half, because both of them are moving in the same circle, right? In the same direction. And the minute hand is moving at 6 degrees per minute, and the R hand is moving at half a degree per minute, and it is gaining lead at the rate of 6 minus half a degree per minute. So this answer will be now equal to 24 by 11 minutes. The salaries of three friends, Sita, Geeta, and Meeta, are initially in this. They get salaries hikes of 20%, 25%, and 20%. In the second year, Sita and Meeta get salary hikes of 40 and 25 respectively. Okay. Now you want to find out what is the salary hike of Geeta in the second year. So let's say Sita, Geeta, and Meeta. So in order to make my calculations little simpler, I would let me say that Sita has 500 bucks as a salary, 600 a year, 700 a year. So in the first year, she has a 20% hike. Sita has a 20% hike. So it is going to become 600. Geeta has a 25% hike. So that becomes 750. And Meeta has a 20% hike. That becomes 840. In the second year, this is going up by 40%. So it will go up, it will become 840. And this Meeta's is increasing by 25%. So 840 plus 210, 1050. So if you look at the average of these two is they are off by 210 points. So the midpoint will be 105. So this will be 945. So this also should be the salary of Geeta. So from 750, you're going to 945. 750 to 945. That's about 195. So obviously your answer that you can see is among these choices, the correct answer is 26%, right? 20% is 150 and then 45 more, right? 2% is 15, so 6% will be 45. That's how you get 26% as answer. A mixture of P is formed by removing a certain amount of coffee. So this coffee was there in a coffee jar. You took a certain fraction of coffee, right, and replaced it with cocoa. So this gives us the mixture P. From the mixture P, right, again you take the same fraction out, same amount is removed from the mixture P, and then you're replacing it with cocoa, and that gives you mixture Q. Now it says the ratio of coffee to cocoa in mixture is 16. So coffee to cocoa is 16 is to 9. Or we can say the final coffee content is 16 by 25 times the initial coffee content. Right? Whatever is the volume of the jar, that is the initial coffee content. Right? Now, whenever we see these questions where you're replacing, you're removing and replacing, and if this fraction f is the amount that you're removing, the fraction f is the fraction of the total volume that you're removing each time, the final coffee content after two operations must be 1 minus f squared into the initial, which implies your 1 minus f has to be equal to 4 by 5 because 1 minus f squared is 16 by 25. So, or you'll get the f is equal to 1 by 4. What does it mean? It means each time you're removing some amount, you're removing 1/5 of the total volume. And we did this twice. And we ended up having 16 is to 49. Okay. So, which basically tells me that in the first value, the coffee to cocoa here, this ratio would have been 4 is to 1. In this case, we have got 16 is to 9. So what is the question that is asking? What is the ratio of cocoa in mixture P, that is 1 by 5, to that? So this is 1/5 of the volume, and this to the ratio of 9 by 25th of the volume. So the ratio that we are talking about is 5 is to 9. This is a question that was probably avoidable. I mean, I don't know. I mean, for those who understood it, it is a fairly simple question. For those who did not, I think you would have struggled a little bit. You could have looked at choices and got the answers. However, Brishti went on an 8-hour trip. Before the trip, the car had traveled a total of X kilometers till then, where X is a whole number and is palindromic. X remains unchanged when its digits are reversed. That means a palindrome is a number which is, you go from the front or from the back, the number looks identical. At the end of the trip, the car had traveled a total of 2,662 till then, right? So the final count was, it's also a palindrome. You can see that the final trip reading is also a palindrome. But Brishti never drove more than 110 kilometers per hour, which implies the total distance that he would have covered has to be less than or equal to 880 kilometers, because he is doing a 8-hour trip. Then the greatest possible average speed at which she drove during the trip, which means, so basically I'm asking myself the question, what should be the largest number that must be removed from this to make a new palindrome? I can see quite, it means very obvious that 26062. If you remove 800 from it, you will get a number which was the trip reading before before Brishti started the journey. And we know for a fact that that's also a palindrome. I can see that this is a palindrome. So the largest number that I need to remove is 800. I cannot remove anything more than that, right? So, of course, your choices here should have given you the options, right? You could have removed 19 to 8, checked whether it's a new number is a palindrome. No, it is not. You could have removed 18 to 8, 640 from 26862, checked whether it's a palindrome. It is not, right? Similarly, this will not be. This is the only one that will give you a palindrome. So hence the answer to this question is 100. Since we removed 800 kilometers, which means the distance that was traveled during this 8-hour journey was 800 kilometers, the average speed is equal to 100 kilometers per hour. So the answer to this question is 100. In an examination, the average marks of 4 boys, 4 girls and 6 boys is 24. Each of the girls has the same marks, while each of the boys has the same marks. If the marks of any girl is at most double the marks of any boy, but not less than the marks of any boy, then the number of possible integer values of 2g plus 6 boys. I think there are 2 questions that have been combined here. That's what makes it difficult. But it is basically the concept of allegation that we need to use to solve this question. Okay, so how do we do this? So let me say that, let's take this case where we know that boys have got lesser age. So let me say boys' average age is B, girls' average age is G. There were 6 boys here and 4 girls here, and the average was 24. Now I can say that this deviation B, right, they have to be equal for the average to be 24. So the deviation to the left of 24 must be equal to the total deviation to the right of 24. So we can say that 6b must be equal to 4g, or 3b is equal to 2g. So I'll take the value of this, right? The ratio of g to b has to be, I'll take this as 3k and this is some 2k. So what does that mean? It means that the boy's age is equal to 24 minus 2k, and the girl's age will be equal to, girl's average marks will be equal to 24 plus 3k. Now, what are the possibilities? There, one case is where b is equal to g. At that point in time, the value of k would be equal to 0. However, if g is equal to 2 times b, then the extreme case, you're just pushing them apart, right? You started off with here where both b is equal to g, right? And then push g to the right, b to the left. to uh, to such a condition that G cannot be more than twice of B. That's what the question says. So if G is equal to twice of B, let's see what is the value of K. If G is equal to twice of B, then I have 24 plus 3K is equal to 48 minus 4K. Or I'll get the value of K will be equal to 24 by 7. That's equal to 3.4 something. So the value of K essentially lies between 24 by 7 and 0. And what are we looking for? We are looking for twice of G, that is 48 plus 6K, plus 6 boys, that is 144 minus 12K. So this adds up and gives me 192 minus 6K. So I'm looking at what are the possible values that K can take. I know that value of K, and it has to be an integer value, right? So the first integer value will be when K is equal to 0. The next value I can see is when it is 1 by 7. So if you put K is equal to 1 by 6 rather, okay? K is equal to 1 by 6. Then you'll have K is equal to 2 by 6. So you will see that you're going to get every consecutive number. So you go to 6 by 6. Then you go till 18 by 6. 19 by 6. 20 by 6, right? At 20 by 6, the value of K is about 3.33. So that's the last value of K that you can take. You cannot go beyond this. If you go to 21 by 6, that becomes 3.5, which will violate the case that K has to be less than 3.4. Hence, the total number of values that K can take is equal to 21. So the correct answer is 21. This is a difficult question. In the exam, I do not think most people would have solved this, and it's not easy for this to strike, right? Of course, there are always going to be some smart people who will do this question. This should have been done by everyone. Geeta sells two objects A and B at the same price such that she makes a profit of 20% on one, right? On A, she's making a 20% profit. So the multiplying factor is 1.2. And on B, she's making a loss of 10%. So that's the multiplying factor is 0.9. If she increases the selling price such that both A and B are sold at an equal price and the profit of 10% is made on object A, object B, then the profit made on object A will be nearest to. Excellent. So let's take a look at this. So let me assume that the selling price is divisible by both 12 and 9. So let's say that is equal to 108. I've chosen a number, selling price is 108. That makes my calculation simpler. In which case, the cost price of A is going to be 90. The cost price of B is going to be 120. Now, we are increasing the selling price such that both A and B make a profit. The profit of 10% is made on object B, which means you were selling it at, you're going to now sell at 132. If you're selling it at 132, the profit that you're making here is 42 bucks. So the profit percentage is 42 by 90. That's about 3% less than 50%. The answer has to be 47%. Very easy question. Should have been done in CAT. The amount of job that Amal, Sunil, and Kamal can individually do in a day are in a harmonic progression. Kamal takes twice as much time as Amal to do the job. If Amal and Sunil work for 4 days and 9 days respectively, Kamal needs to work for 16 days to finish the remaining job. Then the number of days Sunil will take to finish the job working all alone is. I think, the concept of harmonic progression is something that that's likely to unsettle people. So let me say that Amal, Sunil and Kamal. So let's say this guy takes uh, the amount of job done, right, is 1 by x units. Amount of job done by this guy would be equal to 1 plus x by d units, and this guy would be 1 plus x by 2d units. Okay, this is the number of units of, because that's what the harmonic progression is for the amount of job that is done. Kamal takes twice as much time as Amal to do the job. Kamal is taking twice as much time. So, which basically tells me that the amount that he would do has to be half of this. So, half of 1 by x has to be equal to 1 by x plus 2d. So, you get the value x is equal to 2d. Excellent. That kind of helps us a lot. So, I'll just replace this now with saying that 1 by x or 1 by 2d, and then you have 1 by 3d and 1 by 4d. Amal worked for 4 days. Sunil worked for 9 days. Kamal needs to work for 16 days to finish the remaining job. Then the number of days Sunil will take to finish the job all alone. So if we consider the fact that the total number of units will be equal to 4 times 1 by 2d plus 9 times 1 by 3d plus 16 times 1 by 4d, right? So that becomes 2d, 3d, and 4d. That's equal to 9d. So this is the total amount of work. If this is the total amount of work, how much time would it take Sunil to finish the job working all alone? He is putting in 1 by 3d per day. So 9d divided by 1 by 3d, that's equal to 27 days. It's a little donkey kind of work, but conceptually it is just how you use the concept of proportions and harmonic mean to solve. So combination of two concepts are there to solve the question. Tough in the exam situation, avoidable. This should have been done. Anil invests 22,000 for 6 years in a certain scheme with 4% interest per annum, compounded half yearly. Sunil invests in the same scheme for 5 years and then invests the entire amount received at the end of 5 years for 1 year at 10% simple interest. If the amounts received by both at the end of 6 years are the same, then the investment made by Sunil in rupees is. So Anil invested 22,000 for 6 years, 4% per annum, compounded half yearly. So which is like saying how much will Anil get at the end of 6 years? He's going to get 22,000 into 1 plus 2 by 100 into 12 to the power of 12. This is the amount that Anil will receive at the end of 6 years. What did Sunil do? Sunil invested the same in 5 years. However, at the end, whatever he received, he put it on a simple interest of 10%. So Sunil is going to get 22,000 into 1 plus 2 by 100 to the power of 10. So this is what he got as the amount at the end of 5 years, into he invested for 1 year at a simple interest of 10%. So this is the total amount. This must be equal to, sorry, we don't know the amount of Sunil, right? So this must be equal to what Anil got, 1 plus 2 by 100 to the power of 12. So you will see that this will go 20,000 times, right? This will go and you're left with 1 plus 2 by 100 squared. So Sunil, right? This is like two successive increases of 2%. So from 20,000, a 2% increase will be 20,400, and a 2% increase of this would be equal to, sorry, this is 20,400, and 2% increase of this is equal to 408, 808. So this is the answer, 20808. Looks like one uh, devilish problem, but it's actually very simple. A standard TSD question, right? Most of you would have prepared. You would have definitely solved a question like this in the past. Arvind travels from town A to town B. He moved from town A to town B. So this is Arvind. And Surbi traveled from town B to town A, starting at the same time, along the same route. After meeting each other, right? Let's say they met at a point C. Arvind takes 6 hours to reach his destination, and Surbi takes 24 hours to reach the destination. So we can say that time taken by Arvind to time taken by Surbi, if you remember the standard thing, is nothing but root of 24, rather speed of A by speed of B, speed of Surbi is equal to root of TB by TS by this one. So this will be equal to, which is equal to 2. So it basically tells me that speed of Arvind is twice the speed of Surbi, right? So remember, this is speed. Speed of Arvind is twice the speed of Surbi. Let me just, speed of Arvind, and this is speed of Surbi. So if Arvind traveled at a speed of 54 kilometers per hour, then the distance in between towns A and B is, so this is 54 into 6, and this will be 27 into 24. So this is 324. And this is 27,540, 108, 648. So you can see, you add these two and you'll get the answer as 972. Should have been done. There could be no excuse, because this is question that most of the students who are preparing for CAT would have practiced at some point or the other. Let C be the circle x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 6y minus 3 equal to 0, and L be the locus of the point of intersection of a pair of tangents to C with the angle between them as 60 degrees. Then the point at which L touches the line x is equal to 0 is. Okay. So this is a circle. The circle's equation x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 6y is equal to 3. So let me reorganize and write it as x plus 2 whole squared plus y minus 3 whole squared is equal to 3 plus 4 plus 9. This is equal to 16. Right? And it's equal to 4 squared. What does this mean? This is a circle whose center is minus 2 comma 3, minus 2, x coordinate is minus 2, and the y coordinate is 3. So this is where it is. And the radius is 4. So this is minus 2 comma 3. So the radius is, so it will obviously pass through this, pass through 7. It's a circle like this. Okay. Now we are looking to this circle. We have got tangents which are the two tangents are always making an angle of 60 degrees. So you will actually find that when two tangents make an angle of 60 degrees, because this angle is given, this is given, these two lengths are fixed, right? This angle is 60 degrees. So this will be, this has to always be equal to 120 degrees, right? So it's like, this is also going to be a circle. This locus means the path, right? The path that this point takes will always be a circle, right? And I want to know what is the farthest point this is. So when you take this length is 4, this angle is 30 degrees. This is 4 and this is 30 degrees. This length is going to be equal to 8. So the point where it is going to touch your x is equal to 6 line would be, right? It is in fact going to touch it. It will touch it only one point, and that point would be equal to 6, 3. Hence the answer to this question is well. A quadrilateral ABCD is inscribed in a circle such that AB is to CD is equal to 2:1, BC is to AD is equal to 5:4. If AC and BD intersect at point E, then A is to CE is equal to what? So I think it's a cyclic quadrilateral question. There are some concepts of circles here. For those who don't like geometry, I'm sure that you won't have transgressed into this territory. You would have just stayed away from it. But otherwise, for those who like geometry, this should have been a fairly easy question. Standard. This is a standard question. So let's take the circle that we have. And let me draw the cyclic quadrilateral. Let's take A. Doesn't look like a straight line. Wait. A, B, C, and D. Okay. And now we have the diagonals. Now, the moment we say the diagonals, right, I think a lot of similarity concepts will come into picture here. Now, let's take what is given here. AB is to CD is 2:1. So let me take this as 2A, and this is A. And this is BC is to AD, so 5B, and this is 4B. These are the lengths. Now, we'll see that there are some angles that are equal. So let me start by saying that this angle, if I call this as angle 1, should also be equal to this angle 1. Angle 2 should be equal. Angle 3 are equal. Angle 4 is obviously equal. Now angle 5 would be equal to angle 5 out here. Angle 6 is equal to angle 6 out here. Okay. Now what is the logic of why this 1 is equal to 1? You know that the chord AD is going to subtend the same angle at B and C. So these two angles are equal. Similarly, the chord BC is going to subtend the same angles at A and D. Hence, these two are equal. Similarly, the chord CD will subtend the same angle at B and as well as A. So that's how we get this. So now you see that the combination of angles are equal. Then we have similar triangles. What are the similar triangles? Triangle A, this point we know is E. Let me call this as E. Triangle AED is similar to triangle BEC. So what does that give me? AE by BE is equal to ED by EC is equal to AD by BC. And this is equal to what is the value of BC by AD? AD is 4. So this is equal to 4 by 5. 4b by 5b, and it's equal to 4 by 5. Similarly, we have triangle AEB is similar to triangle DEC, or AE by DE must be equal to EB by EC is equal to AB by DC. And what do I know is the value of AB by DC? This value out here is equal to 2 by 1. 2A by A, which is equal to 2 by 1. So in order that I want to find out AE by CE. AE by CE can be written as AE by DE into DE by CE, right? This comes from here, and this one comes from here. So we get the answer as 2 into 4 by 5. That is equal to 8 by 5. So the correct answer to this question is this. Another geometry question, but this one is an easier one. In a right angle triangle ABC, so let me draw a right angle triangle ABC. AB is equal to 5 and BC is equal to 12. Points P and Q on are 2 points on BC such that ABP, ABQ, and ABC are in arithmetic progression. Okay, so I could say that if I start this with this area as A, and this area is a incremental B, this should also be B. So I can now see that the area of ABP is equal to A, area of ABQ is equal to A plus B, and area of ABC is equal to A plus 2B, right? So this kind of ensures that they're in a arithmetic progression. If the area of ABC is 1.5 times, right? So this A plus 2B is equal to 1.5 times A is what the question is saying, which implies 2B must be equal to 0.5A or A must be equal to 4B. That's it. I think this is done. 4B, B, and B. Since the height of all these triangles are same, the ratio of the bases must be equal to 4:1:1. So since this entire thing is 12, we know that this has to be equal to 8, this has to be equal to 2, this has to be equal to 2. So we want to know what is the length of PQ. Length of PQ must be equal to 2 centimeters. Very simple question. करना चाहिए था. The number of all natural numbers up to 1000 with non-repeating digits. Simple. So we have single digit numbers, we have 2-digit numbers, we have 3-digit numbers, right? Single digit numbers, there are 9 of them. 2-digit numbers, I don't want to repeat digits. The first digit can be occupied by any of the 9 numbers. Second digit can be occupied by any of the 9 numbers, remaining 9 numbers. So that makes it 81. So we have 90 till now. And then we have got the third number. The first digit can be occupied by any of the 9 numbers, second by any of the 9 numbers, third with any of the 8 numbers. So this gives you 648. So your answer has to be in 738. Simplest, I mean, one of the simplest questions. But somebody who has decided that permutation combinations I'm not going to touch, this would have been a golden chance that he or she would have kind of skipped. Very, very simple question. For the paper, for the kind of paper that this paper was, this was a gift which probably you would have rejected. for some positive and distinct integers x, y, and z, if uh, root of this is the arithmetic mean of, okay, this expression, then which of the following statements holds true? I think I would just to kind of avoid, or it should not matter. So let's kind of write this. If this is an arithmetic mean of these two numbers, what it means is 2 by root y plus root z must be equal to 1 by root x plus root z plus 1 by root x plus root y. Right? I'll just kind of reorganize this. I'll say 1 by root y plus root z minus 1 by root x plus root z must be equal to 1 by root x plus root y minus 1 by root y plus root z. So when we take it to the other side, you'll get in the numerator root x minus root y by root y plus root z into root x plus root z. This is like a messy equation, but otherwise it's a fairly simple question to solve. Right? Root z minus root y by root x plus root y into root y plus root z. So I think things will very beautifully cancel out. So when you take it to the other side, this side, what you end up getting is, sorry, this is not what is getting cancelled. Y is getting cancelled. So this should be root x. Okay. So when you cancel this out, what you end up getting is x minus y is equal to z minus x. Or you'll get 2x is equal to y plus z, which basically tells you that y, z, y, x, and z form an arithmetic progression. So this is the correct answer.